Virgo.
Hello Virgo, this is your December forecast for 2014, and we have a fabulous month opening up here just off the get-go from December 1st. Now I see you've used a lot of time here just recently in November to communicate and get things set up, and maybe some important decisions were needed to be made here as the planets were all touching upon Saturn there. And Saturn's trying to wrap things up, all right? You've had Saturn in the area of communication over the last two and a half years, and there might have been some lessons there, Saturn. And now at this time, when it's wrapping up, you come to see how it has behooved you. You've strengthened this whole area of communication. Maybe you've learned how to communicate, reach out in a different way than before. But you know, initially when any Saturn aspect starts, it kind of like draws things down in a more serious manner, or also, I won't say necessarily reclusive, but you know, there could be, you know, some armor going up because Saturn has rings, you know, and maybe some communication was shut down for you with important people or significant others, where it might have been a little bit more strained, perhaps, but that's going to lift now from December 24th. Then Saturn's moving into your 4th house, where you're going to see that over the next 2.5 years, the area of your home, where you live, how this is going to restructure itself, giving you more security or more focus on what needs to be secured within home and property, buying and selling and whatnot. Also, it could be a time where there's going to be more energy coming in for your parents, but more about that next month because it's starting here first at the end of this month. However though, as December starts out, you have Mercury, Sun, Venus, and the new moon in your area of home. So you'll kind of see how things are changing it up as opposed to how it was in November, where you were wrapping up certain things. But now your focus is all going to be on family members, yourself on the inside when nobody's looking. It's more that inner foundation that you have within yourself. So pay attention to what thoughts you're going to be having, that inner communication. But it's also a time where you might be spending a little extra time, maybe even some money on upgrades to beautify your home. Venus is in this area, and Venus always loves to beautify what it touches. So you can have that. Plus the new moon here on December 21st will also be the time to put down your intentions of focusing, giving a little bit more tender loving care to the home and family life. So your intentions could be that I promise to put more time, a little bit every month, in this area, because then it carries you through the oncoming months, feeling balanced and more at ease and in harmony, especially with the feng shui that you set up. Now here, let's start top of the month, and what is going to trigger all of these beautiful planet alignments that we see for you. We have Mars, which is men for one, but it's also your inner drive, your physical drive, your goals and desires. Is running straightforward right now, but tying into a beautiful dance with Saturn that has to do with structure. So if you're initiating anything new, make sure that you have your ducks in a row, that you know what you really want now, because you know how they say, careful what you wish for, because you may get it, and you will be getting this that you initiate now. Mars here for you is in the 5th house for love and romance. You might see that you're going to up your game, take more initiative, especially in those karmic matters that Saturn represents here in the communication field, especially if something has felt a little shut down, you know, with the boundaries there of Saturn and that karmic residue. Well, Mars now is going to say, I'm going to go through that gateway regardless, because now you're fired up, you know, you have more faith and confidence to push through, And from it, already just a couple of days later, you will come to see that that might have panned out beautifully for you, as Venus, which rules women, rules love and romance, but also rules what the heart desires, and also rules money and income. So this Venus is beautifully aligned now to Jupiter with a golden trine, and so Jupiter expands everything it touches. Think about that size of Jupiter. Jupiter is just very generous. It's abundant. So you might feel that love is coming to you now in abundance. You might feel that money is coming to you in abundance. This would be here between your 12th and your 4th house. So both those are the psychic spiritual houses. It's water houses. Okay, so you're going to feel this emotionally. Yes, it could definitely pay off in money too, which Venus also rules. But I'm feeling for you, especially it could have more with the emotional side of your nature. That's something now, the gateway, the flood is opening and coming towards you. And it's going to change the game because Uranus is affected. On the very same day, December 4th, the Sun is you, the essence of you, and Uranus is what changes unexpectedly. Now, when Uranus is in a great aspect, it will change things up positively, unexpectedly. So there could be a surprise here coming in that has to do with love. 5th house here, as well as Mars moving forward. So this is coming in after you took some action. Now on the 5th, communication is going to pick up, also tying into Uranus, this new modus that has kicked in. And so I see you following up and following through. Mercury here on the 12th, still doing the same thing, now tying into Jupiter. And we have to also remember that Jupiter is not just abundant and generous, but it rules foreign people and places. So you could start having more communication with somebody afar. It could be out of state, out of country, for that matter. But you will feel that what you deserve is now coming back to you. Okay, this is what Jupiter wants to gift you with. And the Sun on the 14th is also doing the beautiful golden dance, the trine to Jupiter. So you're not just going to hear it and feel it, but you're going to be enlightened by this, because it's like your goals are back on the horizon. They might have been there at some point, might have disappeared, but now they're back again. So it's up to you where you want to take it. And since you're feeling pretty good here on the 14th, where the Sun and Jupiter are trine, well, Venus and Neptune on the very same day are also coming together in a 6th house. So here we have love, Venus, and we have Neptune, the higher octave of Venus, which is more the spiritual, the cosmic level of love, not just the passionate physical love, but when they come together, it just feels like things are on top of the world. Okay, so fantastic first 14 days. It's like you've totally flipped your wheel of fortune here. So you're on a great run, and it's so amazing because on the 15th, what are we looking at? Well, here we have a little bit of a hard aspect. That is the square we've been working on here for the last year and a half, when Uranus and Pluto meets up in a square. So, you know, for the last year and a half, there's been this touch and go. Every time that you might have felt that you were making headway, things could have come to a sudden halt, or a setback, or a challenge, and here we go again. You've had this now 3 to 4 times, and kind of like with your arms up in the air, it's like, now what, right? But this is the last square. So what is good about this is that you can actually start waving it goodbye. It's a wrap up. You know what it is about. You've already lived through it. And for you, this square is between your 5th and your 8th house. So for most of you, not all of you, it could have tied into a love relationship that was very deep, transformative, passionate, and karmic. That's the Plutonian end of it. And then Uranus, which is the spiritual, unconventional type of meeting. And so between these two, you might have felt really drawn into something that's transformed you, left you feeling at least transformed, That was the whole reason for this square, is to break away from old rigid concepts of what love and passion can be, and then looking at it differently, maybe in a more detached manner. In the past, it might have been, well, if there's love, it needs to be physical. It needs to be here, tangible. Some of you might have felt that this Uranian energy needed to detach, only to find out that, wow, it's still alive, even though it's at distance, even though it's squared and challenged, you could still feel that telepathic, strong bond, because Uranus is extremely spiritual. You know, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, where Mercury communicates linearly, verbally. Uranus communicates this way, telepathically, all right? So you might have come out of this much stronger having learned that, but there's still a little tension, even though it's the last square and you've been around the block a few times with this, so you recognize it. But the tension, since the aspect is still there, you're looking at how to wrap it up. Now that there has been good things coming in those 2 first weeks, now I'd say from the 15th straight through the 25th, so you have like a 10-day window where now perhaps it looks like there's time to talk about the odds that you've been up against. There's a little friction. There might be, I won't say necessarily miscommunication, but it's more looking at the levels of where you're at. This person may be here, and then you're here. And it's really trying to line them up. So on the 20th, I feel that whatever needs to be expressed will come out on its own, which it does under these aspects. But you'll also speak your highest truth, as if this really matters, as if this really counts. It's like you're wanting to give it your passionate all, you know, and then let the chips fall where they may, because Venus is going to be conjunct Pluto. This is your highest and deepest truth being expressed, your deepest passion from your heart and soul, which could be really, really good. If everything else is good, it's extremely healing. And it's very, very close because of the intensity that's there. But since both Venus and Mercury are square Uranus, then there's still somewhat of a challenge somewhere, but at least you're going to be able to say your piece. You're going to be able to kind of wrap it up there on the 25th with another communication. Venus spoke its truth there on the 20th. Mercury is going to speak its truth with a conjunction to Pluto on the 25th. And then I see that you feel at least something has transformed. And then you're very open-ended to the universe of what now will come next, which we shall see when we get into January and what is going to come from this. But definitely a processing taking place, and one of those that are actually needed to be had. So early on here in the month, until December 5th, Mars is going to be in your 5th house for love and romance and creative projects or self-expression. Could be children as well. So this is where Mars is going to take effect. And then from December 5th, it's going to move out of this area where it's been since sometime there, early November. And now it's going to be focusing more on your 6th house, your day-to-day routines. And focusing on your to-do list. You're going to be quite busy with that straight through that of December. We have Neptune still working in that 7th house for your significant other, where there might have been this ongoing idealizing your partner, which Neptune can do. You know, it's in that 7th house. And it's only because you're feeling these very heightened spiritual feelings and understanding. But, you know, it can only be as good as your partner can see it or understand and comprehend it as well. You know, you may have it there. If your partner isn't seeing all of these finer nuances of Neptune, they may not get it in the same way. So you just want to stay real so you don't get disappointed, which, you know, Neptune can't do. Saturn, as I mentioned, is going to be moving out of your 3rd house of communication, so that's going to lighten up December 24th. Uranus is going to go direct here December 22nd, and For you, Uranus has been cruising through your 8th house of shared resources, how you balance this, not just, financially, but also how you work it together. And that has been a little up and down, but now it's going to be moving direct, so it's going to be picking up speed and increasing the flow and speed of moving ahead in this area. Jupiter will be going retrograde December 9th, straight through April 9th. So for 5 months, you'll see how it's going to take a little bit of a rest. For you, it's going to be in the 12th house, which is you moving more internally, okay? Going within, reflecting, because having Jupiter in your 12th house, it's actually wanting to kind of clean up a 12-year cycle from when it was on your ascendants 12 years ago. So it has expanded. You've been reaching, yearning, and concluding your life lessons here, and you're coming into a close. So sometime here next summer, July, thereabout, Jupiter will be done with this area. So it's more like a karmic vacuum clean, if you wish, doing that. And especially when she's retrograde between the 9th here this month and that of April 9th. But then she's going to pick up speed and do a finalized clean out until it moves over your ascendants into your 1st house. And when we have Jupiter on the rising, it is beautiful gifts coming into you and the feeling of a totally new life, a new 12-year cycle. So it's an important time. Now, the moon this month, 21st, is going to be for you in the area of home. Your intentions, like I say, remember to put them there. The full moon, on the other hand, December 6th, this for you will be in your 10th house for a career, Virgo. And so you might see something you've worked for, and maybe those intentions that you put out there last month will now bloom and enlighten this area. So pay attention to what the 6th can bring to you. But now you want to listen to your partner scope, see what's going on for him or her, just to see where these 2 first weeks that are so fantastic is happening in their chart. When you know what's going on there, you can know what you probably can come to expect and receive from them. And do the same with your moon and rising sign, because the same transits are going to be there, but in different places, where like right now a lot's going on in your 4th house, in your solar chart. Your moon chart, your rising chart will show it up in different areas, and you can expect the same gifts coming in from those areas. That's why we want to listen to our moon and rising sign too. So enjoy, and I'll see you in January. So happy holidays.